Production support for award-winning New 6 has come from Atlas Crankshaft Corporation, Cummins Engine Foundation. Additional support has come from the Northwest Ohio Educational Technology Foundation and this public television station.
Hi! We're the 6th grade class of Riegel Elementary. Roll with the Blue Jackets. Welcome to New 6.
Today on New 6, we'll visit a place where horses are made into champion racers. We'll wallow with the hogs at the Reinhardt farm, and we'll see pieces of the past in a collection of New Riegel antiques.
Hi, I'm Matt Brown from New Riegel Elementary. Welcome to New 6. With an introduction to today's first story, here's Melinda Reinhardt.
The father and son team of Pete and Tom Bose of New Riegel makes racers out of horses. Pete owns the horses while his son trains and races them. Tom showed New 6 exactly what goes into the makings of a champion racer.
Pete and Tom Bose know there's more to racing horses than just running a horse around a track. Training and discipline are what make a horse a champion racer.
What kinds of training does your horse go through to become a racehorse?
Oh, you start when about a year and a half old. It takes 6 to 8 months to start training them. And eventually you put the harness on them, then you take them out and start line driving. What I mean by line driving is you walk behind them, teach them how to turn one way to another. Then eventually you put the cart on, and you start jogging around the racetrack. And eventually you start going faster and faster. You bring them on in, you start training them, going the right way of the track. And eventually you start going to the races then.
What kind of equipment is used to train a racehorse?
It depends on the horse. Some horses like different kinds of bits. You have a regular snaffle bit, double wire bit. You have overcheck bits, that's a McLaren, Frit Davis, and you use hobbles on them. That's how you make them pace. You have to use knee boots and tenant boots on horses so they don't hit themselves. You have to use a jog cart to jog them, to exercise them, and then you use a race bike when you start racing them.
How can you tell if a horse is going to be a champion?
Yes, you can tell how they act out on the track. It's just like a natural with the basketball players, how fast they pick it up.
Today's show is being produced by the 6th grade classes at Riegel Elementary. Riegel is located about 20 miles east of Finland and was founded in 1883. It has a population of about 329.
Donald Reinhardt and his family of 9 have worked many years together to create a home for about 800 hogs. They start from the very beginnings of a hog's life and see it through to market. While 800 hogs make their home at the Reinhardt farm, about 1,200 pass through every year.
Everyone in the Donald Reinhardt family pitches in to keep their farm and the 800 hogs that live there in tip-top shape.
How do you start raising hogs?
Well, I start out by saving out gilts that's 8 months old and putting them with some boars in what we call breeding pens. And the day of conception, 16 weeks to the day, is when they'll deliver pigs. So 3 days prior to delivering, we move them into what we call a fairing house or delivery room. And they deliver and they stay in there for 3 weeks or approximately 15 pounds. At that point, we move them to a nursery. They remain in there for an additional 4 to 5 weeks, which makes them 8 weeks old. Then they are lowered to the solar finishing barn onto the floors and they stay in there for another 4 weeks, which makes them 12 weeks old. Then they're moved to the finishing pens, and they stay in there for another 2 months until they average between 230 and 250, and then they are ready for the market, which is the top paid price.
What happens when the sow gives birth?
Temperature is what the pig's concerned about after delivery. That's why they move around to the udder, and at that point they start nursing until they get their belly full, and then they move under the heater, and that way when she rises and lowers her body for eating and her other jobs, she does not step on them or lay on them.
How do you manage 1,200 hogs a year?
We just all put a lot of effort into doing it and hire very little hired help. It's family operated.
Kids View gives the kids of Northwest Ohio a chance to say what's on their minds. We asked the 6th grade class at Riegel Elementary, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? Here's what they said.
I'd go to Disney World.
I'd go to Ireland because that's where my family came from.
I'd stay in Riegel.
Collecting antiques can give a person a closer look at the past. Dave Coons is about as close as anyone can get to Rigel's past with his house full of local antiques. He showed us some from his collection and told us a little about the history behind each piece.
With his collection of local antiques, Dave Coons is able to keep Rigel's past alive and remembered.
What Rigel antiques do you have in your collection?
Some of the things in my collection downstairs, I have the mail cart, which was used to go from the railroad yard to the post office to get the mail up there. I have a school desk from up at the Little Legion up here, the first school. There is a Riegel State Bank collection down there, and a sign from the last doctor they had in Riegel. Also in my collection of Riegel, I have various pictures and postcards dating back to the early 1900s, such as pictures inside Marx's bar, the Grand Ball, and Butchering Day in the village of New Riegel. Also in my collection, you'll find various advertisements from businesses that no longer exist in New Riegel or have been taken over by somebody else, such as this rare thermometer from New Riegel Elevator by Ray Holman. And the reason it's such a rarity is because of the oval glass. They got broke very easily. They're very hard to find. My favorite piece is the mustache cone from the Hotel Brunswick, located here in New Riegel.
Why is it important for you to collect Riegel antiques?
It's important to me to preserve the heritage of the village, and this is one way that you can do it, because many things were done in advertisement, consequently people threw them away.
That's all for this week's show. Join us next week when News 6 travels to West Unity, Ohio.
Production support for award-winning News 6 has come from Atlas Crankshaft Corporation, Cummins Engine Foundation. Additional support has come from the Northwest Ohio Educational Technology Foundation and this public television station.